Hello, everyone, and welcome to the harnessracing.com show, coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio, for the 2026 U.S. Trotting Annual Meetings, where we highlight key issues within our sport. We talk with a few key players involved this weekend, starting with last night. We caught up with GM of AgNet Communications, Ty Higgins, who presented during our marketing and communications meeting. Now joined by Ty Higgins, the GM of AgNet Communications. Ty, we're so glad to have you with us for our meetings here in Columbus. You killed it with your presentation.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, there are so many correlations between production agriculture and standardbred racing. It was kind of an easy message to get across to your members, because there are so many correlations between our two industries.
Now, just to give you a little background, now you're the Ohio script guy, right? You had a neighbor that's a big Michigan fan. You kind of went viral, kind of, to say the least, went viral for putting the Ohio in your neighbor's backyard, who's a huge Michigan fan. But tell us a little bit about that, and of course your background.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Buckeye fan, and my Michigan fan neighbor went out of town, and I decided I would manicure his yard. So I mowed Script Ohio in his yard, dotted the I with the weed whacker. 3.5 million views on Facebook. So if you haven't seen it yet, if you just search the hashtag OHIMow, you'll find that, and you can enjoy. So,
you know, something like that is just so clever, and how easy it can be, just doing that little viral video that started out as just something fun for you. Yeah. How easy it can be.
Yeah, I didn't even know that it was going to do what it did. I was on ESPN twice. On SportsCenter, they played the video a couple times, and I did it just for fun, and I put it on his wife's Facebook page, and that's the power of social media. That's the power of how many people you can reach just by doing something that's entertaining, engaging, and sometimes some of the best things happen when you don't even expect it.
Now, of course, you do communications and marketing, dealing with a lot of the agricultural things throughout Ohio. Harness racing, big part of agriculture here in Ohio.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, agriculture as a whole is a $130 billion industry to the state's bottom line. Equine industry is a big portion of that, and TC Lane and I were talking earlier this morning. Sometimes the standardbred aspect of Ohio agriculture gets overlooked, but we have such a strong relationship between organizations like the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association and Ohio Farm Bureau, and we're really trying to bridge those gaps that other states might be seeing. We've kind of got it figured out here in Ohio, and we should. We're one of the biggest standardbred, actually the biggest standardbred state in the country, but having those relationships with other organizations that may be like-minded but maybe not doing the exact same thing is very beneficial.
Now, when you come here to U.S. Trotting, we were so glad, as we said, to have you present to us. We do everything kind of on a grander national scale for the whole entire sport. You're here to emphasize on the local level, touching on the Ohio Harness Horsemen Association is exactly what they do, but here for you, your presentation, touching for more of a local base.
Yeah, I think that people can relate, get more engaged, be more involved if they see something coming from the local aspect. And you guys at USTA, the national level, do a fantastic job, and that's something that can really be gleaned at the local level, to see how you do it, what you do, the algorithms, you know, the method to your madness, and bring that down to a more granular level, I think would have a huge impact for tracks all across the country.
Now, when we talk about agriculture and harness racing, tying them both together, it's kind of a cross promotion between the guy that makes the hay and sells it to the people that need to feed the horses and the people that need to drive the truck and trailers to get to the races. So everybody ties together.
Yeah, and I think it can go the other way too. You know, a lot of farmers have the capabilities, have the logistical infrastructure on their farm to get involved in more ways than just going to the racetrack. I think that a lot of farmers would be interested in getting a stake in a horse or putting a couple of standardbreds in the barn. And I think that there's going to be a lot more talk about that as we work with the national organizations and also the OHHA to try to get more farmers involved and really, as I said, bridge that gap between the two industries. And you know, farming and agriculture particularly is less than 1% of our population. And so in order to have a more collective voice and be more productive, literally and figuratively, we're going to have to work together.
You know, the only thing I heard out of that, I think we're going to see some Higgins Racing LLC here coming in the future. As you're becoming a big fan of harness racing.
Yeah, I had a couple of standardbreds named after my brother and I. My uncle was a trainer years and years ago, and I was born without a left hip, so mine was a little bit gimpy on the track too, but that's another story in and of itself.
What is the message that you want to leave for people watching, our members, and of course our directors here for U.S. Trotting?
Yeah, you know, we do what we do every day, whether that's agriculture or harness racing. And I think in our minds one of two things. Either people know what we do or they really don't care what we do. And I think a lot of the times that's how we create our social media and how we create our messaging and outreach and communication. What I wanted to leave with people today here and people watching right now. We need to act every day as if not just that they maybe trust us or don't know what we're doing, but that they think we're doing the opposite of what is right. And we need to be proactive with the message of what we do, how we do it, and make sure that we squash the myths like a bug that we hear about in production agriculture. Obviously, you hear about it in the harness racing world as well. Be proactive with what we're doing. Use science-based data about why we do what we do in our barns and on our farms, and that message will go a long way and build us a lot of trust on social media and also in our communities as well.
One more thing before I let you go. Social media is where we have to be, and hey, it doesn't have to be perfect, but the effort goes a long way.
It does, and be genuine, be authentic. You don't have to be perfect. People, as you and I talk right now, I'm umming and ahhing, and that's okay. That's how people talk. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid of that. Be yourself. Tell your story. No one else tells your story better than you do. And if someone tries to tell your story, they're going to get it wrong, and they're going to tarnish the way you fit in your society and your reputation. So it's best that you tell that story because no one else is going to do it better than you do.
Ty, we're so glad to have you with us this year for our annual meetings. A lot of education you put our way. Where else can people find out and follow you for more information?
Yeah, of course, the website is ohioagnet.com, and on all the socials you can search Ohio AgNet or Ohio's Country Journal and find us there as well.
Ty, thank you so much. And this guy knows what he's talking about. So if you need to learn more, make sure you're following him. Ty, on behalf of myself, all of us at US Trotting, thank you, and stay with us. We'll be right back.
Quinby Joe Fresh locks it down in the Breeders' Crown and a record 6 crowns for Dexter Dunn.
Everyone, welcome back to the harnessracing.com show, coming to you once again from Columbus, Ohio for the 2026 annual US Trotting meetings. Now we hear comments from our president, Russell Williams, from today's general session.
So this weekend, I've already had 2 people say to me, I hope harness racing will be around for a while after I'm gone. That's a good sentiment for a director to have. It does suggest that maybe we face some challenges, but there is a bright ray of hope, and that hope is most of it right here in this room. I've been on the board for 30 years, and we've had some great directors and staff, highly talented people over the years, but the concentration of talent and motivation on our board and our staff is higher now than I've ever seen it before. Let's look at some of our recent accomplishments. We're the first regulatory organization in the United States to successfully carry out a bearding investigation and ruling in harness racing. People who cheat don't care whether harness racing is going to be around after they're gone. They just want to squeeze as much as they can out of it now. And catching some of these people is like stepping on jello because of bearding. Bearding, in a way, is the worst offense that can exist in a regulated industry because it prevents the regulators from applying the rules and ensuring compliance. So we carried out a full bearding investigation and took action in a situation where an owner-trainer was suspended for 360 days and basically carried on owning and training as before. Nothing changed despite the ruling. The USTA has rules against this, and we acted to enforce them. We're showing the way for state racing commissions. I know that they're not always the most responsive organizations, but the point is, if we can do it, they can do it. And I'm going to start reminding them of that. Now, our research projects with Dr. Ballone and UC Davis are yielding important information that will enable us to preserve the standardbred breed, its genetic diversity, and breed a healthier horse. We have spent a fair amount of money on this, but the progress we've made in understanding the animal we're responsible for has been tremendous. I've already talked about book limits in the registration committee, and I'm going to pass over that for now and get to the Harness Racing Medication Collaborative. This is another achievement of which we can be very proud. HRMC has patiently built a strong profile in medication regulation by presenting positions that are founded on scientific data and scientific method. Heretofore, we've been at the mercy of RMTC, which operates on the basis of undisclosed papers. And yes, it's taken far too long, but ARCI is now holding votes on whether to accept HRMC as a source for standardbred medication regulation. We're going to win that vote in the near future. It says here, shout out to Joe Feraldo. Mr. Feraldo has been a very capable and forward-moving chairman of HRMC. And without him, they never would have achieved what they have achieved. So we owe him our gratitude. The financial position of the USTA is extremely strong. Because there are new directors here who haven't heard this story, I'm going to repeat it. Years ago, and under a previous staff administration, Charlie Keller was one of our directors, and Charlie used to rise every year in the Finance Committee and argue that we needed to have reserves that would carry us through any period where we didn't have revenue coming in. He said that we should maintain reserves that would enable us to operate for 6 months if we had no revenue. And amazingly, today, that proposal took a long time to get accepted under the previous administration, but ultimately it was. Dennis Fisher and I then developed what we call the Keller unit, which is 6 months of operating coverage. And I'm happy to report that our operating coverage presently is 3 Keller units. So we're in an excellent financial position. Our strong financial position enables us to fight back effectively against the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act. We hired a powerful constitutional law firm by the name of Gibson Dunn, and the legal position that we developed became the template for a large group of states, thoroughbred and standardbred horsemen's organizations, Indian tribes, and other plaintiffs. And we should learn in September how the Supreme Court is going to address our case and 2 other cases that are challenging this misguided legislation. Meanwhile, back in the birthplace of HISA, Churchill Downs has been refusing to pay a $6 million charge to the authority. If Churchill prevails, it could spell the end of HISA for economic reasons. In this dispute, by the way, Churchill Downs hired Gibson Dunn to represent them. Also, meanwhile, the Racehorse Health and Safety Act, a bipartisan improvement over HISA, has been introduced in Congress and has been attracting some support. It probably will not go anywhere while HISA is in effect, but when the time comes. In the last few days, I learned that there's a group of state attorneys general who are looking at endorsing the Racehorse Health and Safety Act, so support is growing also outside the legislature.
We say thank you to President Russell Williams. You stay with us. We'll be right back.
Winback Farm of Canada is home to 9 outstanding stallions, including Metro-based champion Captain's Quarters, who's new in 2026. Beach Glass, winner of the Meadowlands Pace and the Last Great Son of Some Beach Somewhere, his first yearling crop sells in 2026. Lawless Shadow, an O'Brien Award winner and Meadowlands Pace champion, whose first crop sells in 2026. The Great McWicked, the richest pacing stallion in harness racing history, and 2-time O'Brien Award winner Tattoo Artist, a winner on every size track with many stakes and track records. Also standing Better Than Cheddar, Betting Line, My MVP, and Trixton. For more information, it's winbackfarm.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the harnessracing.com show as we're coming to you once again from Columbus, Ohio for the 2026 annual U.S. Trotting Meetings. Now joined by the COO, the guy that does just about everything for the sport of harness racing, TC Lane. TC, we know you're busy, so nice you catch up with us today.
No problem, Wendy, and thank you for having me on. It seems like it's been a year since we've spoken about this, and you know, this year is our 87th year that we've assembled here in Columbus, and it's an exciting time of the year when we have 60 directors convene here to talk about all the problems of the world and the racing world, so to speak. And you know, I always go by that mantra of what did we do yesterday, what are we doing today, and where are we headed tomorrow. So that's really the basis.
And we talk about those 60 directors, of course, from the 13 districts spread out across the U.S. And, you know, things that we talk about here for our members to understand are things that we're fighting and trying to figure out for the years in the past, that what we've dealt with, and then for the years to come.
Yeah, I mean, what we're looking at here is trying to become more of a consensus type operation. You know, at the national level, it's quite difficult at some point. You know, because uniformity it takes just that. But you know, when we do travel here to Columbus and when we have the powers that be, I really think that's the most effective way for this industry to move forward is to have that power type meeting and talk on different levels, and that's how we achieve that uniformity.
Well, if we had to take one message out of the meetings every year, as far as you putting them together as well with Michelle Kopiak, you both work really hard for our 20,000 members. What do you think the message each year you'd like to leave here and for the members to have throughout the year?
Well, it's an interesting question, and quite frankly, when you have a board of directors that is 2/3 driver trainer, 1/3 racetrack operators, there's not a one size fits all. So what we try to address is how we can serve those 20,000 members individually. So, you know, there's really not one size fits all, and I think that's where the expertise comes back in. If we're talking about outreach, we're talking about taking the memberships, you know, their wishes and their desires at heart. We're trying to serve them. You know, we take great pride in our member services. You know, we know how difficult it is in the horse business. We try to make dealing with the United States Trotting Association the easiest part of the horse business. From the racetrack standpoint, we know that we operate on margins. We try to increase efficiencies. We try to provide data to places that they're not. We are the hub, and the directors, they embrace that. The 13 districts, like you mentioned, we try to be the master. We try to serve all those masters, and with the resources that we have available. So we try to do a little bit for everyone.
And you talk about doing a little bit for everyone, from registration to regulatory to breeding. We do just about everything. What do you think, if you had to say one misconception for here at U.S. Trotting that we get that just isn't true, that we're out there fighting for our members and for the betterment of the sport?
Well, I think that the level of sincerity and the amount of passion that the board of directors actually have once they assemble here in Columbus, it's second to none, and they really have their constituents at heart. And you know, they take the time, they put the time in, they take the time to come here, but it's really beyond March. You know, I'm fortunate enough that those 60 individuals make themselves available to me 52 weeks out of the year, and we lean on them. And I think from a member standpoint, I think they really need to utilize more so their local director, because that way they can voice their concerns to the annual meetings.
And of course, when we talk about their directors, each district has their directors elected. So if you want to get more involved in that, of course, contact us, and we'll always tell you how when elections come up. And if you want to throw your hat in the ring, anyone's got a shot.
Absolutely, and we have done a little bit better job of making sure that there's enough awareness. Because the district meeting schedules, how the elections are ran, the 3-year terms, we want engagement. So, you know, we welcome that, and if there are any questions, you know, our website is a pretty good resource, and but if second to that, they can email me at any time, Michelle Kopiak at any time, like they do, and we would be happy to walk them through that process personally.
Well, the meetings, of course, we had it last night. We had our communications and marketing meeting. We had Ty Higgins join us. What a presentation he put on, and to help us say we got to promote ourselves more on a local level. And of course, things were moving along here today. Any big issues, anything you want to take to focus on for 2026 coming out of these meetings this weekend?
Well, as the breed registry, and I also serve in the capacity of the registrar, of course, the first thing that we focus on is the horse itself. You know, we're trying to produce the most solid racehorse. We're trying to make the most durable product out there. And you know what, we're doing a really good job. We had a detailed conversation today about the genetic diversity, the studies that we have been engaged with UC Davis. And, you know, our horses perform at a level like no other. So from the registrar's perspective, that's what we're here for. Today, you know, the hot topics are integrity-based. You know, one thing about the organization is that if our members cannot compete at a level of consistency and with high levels of integrity, there's no faith in the game. So that's important. And you know, and I'm sure we're going to see a host of other issues that they're unannounced. So, but we're fully capable of dealing with those, and look forward for the rest of the afternoon.
And of course, the betterment of our great breed and showing its versatility in all of the things that it has to offer.
Well, that's right, and the expansion for that, Wendy, is limitless. And but the best thing about it, and you mentioned Ty's presentation, is that we do a very good job of talking internally. We're very silo based, and I think that the call to action here is that nobody can talk about their product better than our members. So it's the responsibility of the organization to communicate and to publicize and market. But really, the responsibility is on us as horsemen to tell our story at the local level, and I can't stress that enough. And I hope that we talked about what take-home messages is that promotion starts in your shed row. So, I encourage the members to tell their story, and it doesn't, their neighbor doesn't know, so they have to help them.
Last thing, one more thing before I let you go. We know you're busy. Like we said, thank you so much for taking the time. But what does it mean for you and your staff to be in this industry and to help it every year?
Well, one of the ways that I describe it, and it's consistent with the staff, and, I've been at this now for 25 years in this capacity, and we all wake up with a hunger to serve every day. And I think, and people kind of laugh, but I said every day going to work is like Christmas. And that's the kind of the passion and the culture that we try to create, Wendy. And I think that if we take care of our members in the best way possible, the industry will thrive. And we're going to get there, but it starts with a culture and a passion. And that's something that we try to impress upon our employees today. But and I hope that our members really appreciate our efforts.
Well, we hope you certainly do, too. Very well said, TC. We're going to let you get back at it. We know you're busy. You're going to stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Thank you.
Winbag Farm of Delaware offers several outstanding stallions, including EL Platinum, full brother to multiple stakes winners EL Ideal and EL Titan, Meadowlands Pace winner He's Watching, a Dan Panch Award winner and a world record holder over multiple sized ovals, Molotov Cocktail, a New York Sire Stakes final champion and multiple stakes winner, Nutcracker Sweet, half brother to the great Sweet Lou, and a multiple stakes winner, Sports Column, a 19-time winner and a multiple Ontario Sire Stakes Gold winner at 2 and 3, and Top Flight Angel, a Yonkers Trot Final champion and a Breeders' Crown elimination winner. For more information, winbagfarm.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the HarnessRacing.com show, coming to you once again from Columbus, Ohio, for the 2026 annual U.S. Trotting meetings here. And joining me now is a new director on the board this year, Rich Matei, coming to us from District A up there in New York. Rich, thank you for being with us this weekend.
No problem. I'm glad to be here.
Going from being a caretaker, you kind of got a really cool story, right? From all the way back there, got involved in harness racing when you were 16 years old, from being a caretaker to going to announcing school, doing announcing at various tracks, and now you're right there involved in the race office duties at Yonkers. Heck of a story.
Yeah, I just always knew as a kid that I just wanted to be in the game. I love the horses. It's the horses that really do it for me, and just the way they race, and they're just majestic animals, and I just always wanted to be involved with them.
Being involved, of course, you got to call the 2025 International $1 million Trot. That had to be cool.
Yeah, I was a little nervous, but we got through it, so I was pretty happy with the call, and it was an exciting race, too, which actually makes it a lot easier to call.
Yeah, just a horse by Lexus Cody. He made it exciting, right?
Yeah, especially he had trouble at Yonkers. His last couple starts, he'd always break, and that was the main question that day because he drew the rail, but he was just on fire right after that race. He got really good, and it was just an exciting day of racing.
For you personally, just to get to know you a little bit better, what are you looking forward to for your year at Yonkers in 2026?
Keep the momentum up. I think we had a really good season last year. A lot of our stakes races, we had a lot of champions, and we're just going to try to keep the momentum going.
Now, talking about momentum going here, we talk about your duties of becoming a board member here for U.S. Trotting. What made you say, of course, working closely with Joe Frazier and Joe Feraldo up there, what made you say, you know what, I want to make a bigger impact on the sport that you love?
Because I wanted to stay around, honestly, and I just want to make connections with people. And we're all here for the same reason. We love the game. We want to see the game continue, and we want to improve the game. So I feel like it's an obligation to people in the industry.
Now, when we talk about being here for the weekend, what do you think's one thing or a few things that you didn't know they accomplished here throughout the weekend that sets the standard for the rest of the year?
They're very prepared. I get emails all the time from district members, and everybody cares. It's the same message, and everybody gets that message that we have to improve this game. And we can't sugarcoat anything. Like, there are problems in all aspects of sport. So I think here we can really improve the game.
Now, one thing is talking about a message. What would be a message for you, Rich Matei, to take out to your District 8A members that you'd like to convey for them?
We're improving. We're definitely improving. Whether it would be horse safety, driver safety, just regulations in general, we're improving the game one step at a time.
Now, I think we can tell throughout this interview, one more thing before I let you go. The sport of harness racing means a heck of a lot to you.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Rich, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for being with us for another harnessracing.com show. We hope you've enjoyed all of the interviews and information we brought your way from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you.